Back, everybody. Episode 72, the Sean Lowery Show, where I got my boy David Hecker. This is our third episode together, and we got our system down. We got 5 questions that we answer, and then we got a new segment today, which you'll find out about later, and Brandon's Big Bites, which we don't know. So, let's get right into it.
Let's go.
First question, Brandon.
Question 1. What are the top 5 things you're thankful for?
This was hard.
We're doing like no family, friends, stuff like that, right? That's all assumed.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for my mom. I'm thankful for family.
Thankful
but no,
for your
we're kind
mom
of
as well,
we're doing more podcast topics. That's the way I did it.
Cool.
So,
all right, me too.
All right. You do. I don't mind. Do you have yours in a specific order?
No
neither.
particular order. But you want to alternate?
Yeah.
Okay. Start us off. What's number 1?
All right. My first thing that I'm thankful for is Lil Wayne's new mixtape, No Ceilings 3. Did you listen to it?
I did not. Nope.
Dude, he's got a brand new mixtape. It's awesome. And what's his name? DJ Khaled produces the whole thing, and it's like vintage Lil Wayne. I listened to it a lot because I was in the car, and I listened to it this morning, and I listened to it on my ride back from Thanksgiving, and it's vintage Lil Wayne. Coolest thing about it, 3 songs on it are songs from 3 of his sons. He has 3 sons named Dwayne Carter, whose name's Lil Toon, and he's 12. Neil Carter, whose name's Young Carter, and he's 11. And then Cameron Carter, whose rap name is Young Cam Carter. Very bad diversity on the names of their rap names.
How old is the youngest one?
So 12, 11, and 11. And
His kids are shockingly young.
Yeah, well, he's 38, and he has 3 kids. He has 4 kids, and the oldest one's 22, and he has 4 different baby mamas. So we had one when he was 16, that was a girl, and then he had 3 other kids when he was about 27, all with different moms, and then 3 boys. They all came on and did a song on the album, and it's kind of funny that they don't curse. Like, it's kind of pretty elementary. It sounds like me rapping as far as the lyrics. There's nothing too intense about it, but it was pretty cool that he put his 3 kids on it: Lil Toon, Young Carter, and Young Cam Carter, which really deciphers him from Young Carter, Young Cam Carter. But it was really awesome. It was vintage Lil Wayne. He's my favorite rapper, and the shit like makes no sense, but he's just freestyle rapping, and it's amazing. There's 22 songs or something like that, and apparently he's coming out with the second part of it later. So I love when Lil Wayne just goes in. It's brand new. I've been listening to it a lot. I highly recommend it, and that's one thing that I'm thankful for.
Love it. All right. Well, one thing that I'm thankful for right now. So I had a baby recently, almost 7 months ago now. I'm thankful for the ebbs and flows in her sleep patterns, because it's like you get no sleep, you get a couple hours, you get no. So nowadays I'm so thankful for like 4 hours straight of sleep. It's just the most amazing thing in the world. So the past 3 nights now, I've gotten 6 hours of sleep continuously. And it's like, I feel like I'm on cocaine. I feel so amazing, so energized. There's nothing quite like it. The exhaustion that you feel before it's hard to explain when you just don't get any sleep for like a week. So getting any little bit right now.
So she's starting to sleep like she's starting to sleep more. She's starting to sleep like longer. She's starting to sleep longer periods.
Yeah, but it ebbs and flows. Like she'll go for a week sleeping really well, and then like she has teeth coming in, so then she'll wake up every hour and like need to be, rocked or something, or just needs to be loved. So
that's what
right now it's
what
really
if
nuts.
what if you just let her in the crib and didn't do anything?
Then I wouldn't be sleeping. I mean, she's screaming and crying. Like she still sleeps in our room.
Fair enough. So that even if you wanted to be a tough guy, let her sleep, let her tough it out, she would still wake you up because of the noise.
It's brutal. Like that's not an option. Selfishly, that wouldn't be an option, because a baby's cry is so annoying, so awful.
What if you put her on the roof?
That could work. Our roof's on a pretty big slant, so it could work. But it's also been raining. Like that would be just a jerk move.
That'd be child abuse. It'd be child abuse. But that's exciting, man. I'm glad to hear you're getting a little more sleep. And do you guys like take turns?
In what way?
Take turns waking overnight up and rocking the baby.
Occasionally, like there's some things that I can't do. Like if the baby's hungry, I'm not going to be able to help much. You know what I mean? Like occasionally, if Lauren has to work the next day or something, I'll take all the overnights because I'm working from home. But like if she's hungry, Lauren's got to nurse her. But if it's something else, then it's me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy you're getting more sleep.
Thanks, man.
All right. My next one, and we said that if any of these top 5 of ours are the same, we have to come up with another one. So I'm going with this one early because I don't think you'll have any of the other ones of mine. But this one is just, come on. This is a basic one. And we talked about things before that if they didn't exist, how crazy it would be. The internet, right? So the internet.
That was number one. Number one off the board.
It's off the board for you? Nice. I'm glad
Number
I took
one,
it early. So, all right, I have a couple of reasons. My business, I can check my sales online and I'm able to sell products to anyone across the country at any point in time while I'm sleeping. Amazing. And if the internet didn't exist, I'd just be like, oh, that's fine. I would know nothing else. The fact that it exists, we take for granted, and it's so incredible. This podcast, imagine if we wanted to do a podcast 15, 20 years ago. We would have needed a radio to host us. And then we would have had to get permission from the radio station, which never would have got. So it's just incredible. And then the guys who used to make CDs and then sell the CDs out in Times Square, give them away. Everyone just throws them away. That's the worst way to distribute music. There's such better ways to do it online. Online banking, Venmo. So many people in the past used to be like, yeah, I'll pay it back. I'll pay it back later. Well, can you just take 2 clicks and do it right now? Online banking is amazing. I love it so much. And then maps, navigation. I remember when I first started driving, I would print out directions from MapQuest. Got lost every single time.
It wasn't even when we first started, dude. I remember we were in college. We would go to a concert at Festival Pier in Philadelphia, and we'd have to. I remember me and you were scrambling once right before we left because your printer wasn't working. We had to print out MapQuest direct, and this was 7 years. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it's so confusing. Directions are so confusing. A lot of times, even with the GPS, I'll have to turn around and shit like that. Imagine if you missed a turn with the paper directions, all the paper directions go out the window. So it's been a long time since I've had to stop at the gas station and ask someone for directions. And the other thing is I feel like one of my uncles, his best thing was giving directions, and he lost a lot of his value because 10 minutes before you leave, he'd be telling you for 10 minutes, all right, you go down this road, you go down this road. And I noticed that a lot of adults, they still do that. They still give directions, even though you're like, all right, yeah, thanks. I think I got it. And then the other thing that I have is, do you have any remotes on your TV at home?
I usually use my phone, but
I have 0 remotes.
One of them that needs a remote. Yeah.
Chromecast. Chromecast is amazing.
Apple TV. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Chromecast specifically is if I'll be watching something, I throw it up while I'm eating. Say I'm home alone. I'm eating dinner at the table. I watch it on the TV. Then I go upstairs to take a shower. I just swing it right back to my phone and I pick up right where I left off. Imagine how I used to watch Family Guy before bed at 11 p.m. because that's when it aired. And I had to be there at 11, or else I missed it. Imagine a TV show airing
that you have
Thursday night, 8 p.m., and you miss it otherwise. Just for all those reasons, the internet is so crazy. I can't believe that it exists. It doesn't make any sense.
That
what is it?
We existed during 2 things. I'll come back to that, but it's amazing that we were alive and aware before and after, because I think that whatever it's going to be known as technical revolution, internet, whatever it is, age of the internet is a much more impactful transformation than say the industrial revolution or the printing press. Those have always been learned as the most instrument. I mean, it doesn't even hold a candle to this.
Yeah, there was the printing press in the 1500s, and then there was the industrial revolution in the 1900s.
And this blows it out of the
water. Way bigger. This is way bigger than all that. Way bigger.
Also, you said, what is the internet? I've had it explained to me 1,000 times. I'm convinced nobody knows because it's always, it's information traveling, through wires or the fiber optic. But what do you mean? I know it's traveling through fiber optic cable, but what does that mean?
Today, the power went out for a second at my building because we had too much stuff plugged in and my internet was down. I turned it back on. If someone told me that my website would be down while that was down, that would make sense. But meanwhile, people were still shopping on the site because their internet wasn't down.
Right.
But
how do even an email? How does it work? How does it work? I don't know.
I understand
bigger conversation.
I understand a website server and but
information. How do you turn information into a wave, something that's invisible, and then send it elsewhere? It just doesn't. Dude. I don't get it. Even telephones, to be honest, but that's a little bit easier. Anyway, that's a great one. It was number 1 on my board. I think it's 1-1. That's chalk, as they say.
Yeah, and just thank God or whoever's up there, Allah, whoever. Thank you for the internet. It's amazing. I love it. My life would not be the same without it. We are so blessed to live in this time.
Yep.
All right, I took one off the board for you.
Yeah, that was a big one. I'll say I'm thankful for seasons, like the 4 different seasons in the year. So it always works out. And granted, it's only 3 months or 4 months of each, but I'm always ready for the next one. Like and towards the end of summer, I'm always like, fuck this. This is just hot and humid and brutal. I can't go outside. I'm ready for fall. And then fall comes and you get excited and it's Halloween and you're doing all these fall activities and you're like, oh, I can't wait for Christmas. And then Christmas comes. And as you're winding down from Christmas, you're like, it's cold, it's rainy, it's snowy, it's gray. It's always dark. I'm ready for spring and summer or spring and flowers. And then spring comes, you're ready for summer. And it's just you're constantly looking forward to what's next. I think each season has like 2 weeks of enjoying what that season has to offer. And then it's on to the next one. But, if I lived in San Diego, while it's 80 and sunny every single day, that's wonderful for sure. But you don't get I couldn't get into the Christmas spirit. I wouldn't be able to enjoy like Halloween and the fall time. I love fall. I've been on this platform for a while that I look best in like a hoodie and jeans and preferably a backpack on. So winter and fall are definitely, 1 and 2 in my book. But I just love that you're always changing, always ready for something else. You can wear new clothes. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You can buy new clothes for the next season. So that's a big one for me.
In college, we used to talk about all the time how cool we looked in backpacks.
For sure.
It's
I
so
wish
cool.
I could carry a backpack. I mean, I could.
Dude, 1 strap, 2 straps, and like you got something to do. You're kind of like walking around. You're kind of busy because you have a backpack on. You feel cool. You feel productive.
And it's practical too. You can carry a bunch of stuff.
You carry a bunch of stuff. Yeah, and it looks good too. When it comes to weather, I say fuck the seasons. I am a snob for perfect weather. But when it comes to the attitudes, the holidays, I absolutely love that. For me, the seasons have changed because in my business, early August is fall. That's when we start selling all the fall stuff. Christmas is about over for me right now. Like Christmas is coming to an end because I'm always like a little season ahead with what I'm selling, but I get to push the vibes of those seasons. So I love them too in that sense. That's a good one. And since I moved to Charleston, I grew up in Syracuse, New York, the snowiest city in the country. Top 3 on every list I've ever seen. I hate the snow. I lived in Philly. I hate the snow. I love the constant weather here. I was wearing shorts yesterday.
You like skiing?
I love skiing, yeah.
See, like I wouldn't want to wear right now. Like I go outside and it's a crisp morning, and I have my coffee, and I'm walking around with a baby in a stroller, and I got a sweatshirt on, and you can see my breath. Like you can't beat it. How do you get into football if it's 75 every day? I mean, not for me.
But what about when you can't go outside because it's so cold? You feel like turn into an icicle in like 2 seconds.
Well, first of all, like
that's what I hate.
Just don't be a pussy. You can do it. You know what I mean? Just like build some character and go outside because it's cold. It's not going to kill you. Second of all, it makes you appreciate the really nice days so much more. You never take it for granted. Think about the first like shorts and short sleeve day of the spring when you can go outside and just hang out. I don't have a couple beers or whatever.
I don't have that now, but I still appreciate it.
Right.
When it comes to these 5 thankful things, I got to say, I'm one of the most thankful people in the world. I appreciate every little thing. So I still appreciate it because I used to live there. Maybe in a few years it'll wear off and I'll be like, I need some snow. But, oh God, I just remember being in Manayunk on a hill trying to parallel park an icy car, going to the gym at 6 a.m, freezing cold. It was torture. And that's when I decided to move, and I don't regret it so far, 5 years in. But that's a good one. I like the seasons. All right. My next one is a stretch as far as something I'm thankful for, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. So I'll say that I'm thankful for the history of America, but I have one specific thing that I just wanted to talk about, and I wanted to bring it into this conversation. All right. Do you know the Oklahoma Sooners, right? Do you know why they're called the Sooners?
No.
Yes. I'm glad you don't know this. All right. This is why they're called the Oklahoma Sooners. This is my favorite piece of American history, and I'm thankful for it because it's so cool. All right, so westward expansion.
Wait. I think I know actually, but I'll let you go. Is this where it's like, all right, everyone, 3, 2, 1, go?
Yeah. Yes. But
I don't know the details. Go ahead.
Let me map it out. All right. So there was a time period where America claimed a bunch of land. I think it had something to do with Indian removal for sure. But there was westward expansion, and in the Oklahoma territories, the federal government just acquired a lot of land, basically all of Oklahoma. And they said, how are we going to distribute this? How are we going to settle it? How are we going to hand this out? We don't know. So what they did was they picked a date, they picked a time, and everyone showed up on their horses. And the federal government did this. They said, on your mark, get set, go. And everyone ran out and just started claiming land. They're like, this is my land. This is my land. This is my land. Imagine how wild and exciting that is. So that's nuts. Now, some smart people the night before snuck out. They snuck out and they crept behind trees and they planned it out and they plotted their land before everyone else ran out. So they got the best land. And then when everyone ran out, they're like, oh, hey, and they're just like, this is my land. And guess what they call those people? Sooners, because they were there sooner than everyone else. So that is why the Oklahoma Sooners are called the Sooners. They're named after the people who broke the fucking rules and went out way before and got the best pieces of land, cheated. Something to be very proud of, Oklahoma. Your mascot's a bunch of cheaters. But dude, how exciting would that be? Like, you have this adventurous attitude. I'm someone who's moved a lot, and they say, all right, everyone go claim your land. And they just go. And I don't know how they had like lines.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
I think they just like
you figure it probably works itself out over time, right?
Like, do you want to live near a bunch of people? Then maybe like, I don't know. But within, I know that within like 14 days, there was like banks set up. There was like businesses started to set up. And it's like a very American thing because just all started to come together and communities were born. And the people who didn't want to be near communities, they went out to a land that was further away. And eventually I think one of the first businesses that was started was, what's that thing where they come make like lines in your land? There's a word.
Surveyors or whatever?
Yeah, surveyor. Yeah. So surveyors was one of the first entrepreneurial professions there because they started mapping it out. But that's my favorite story in American history, the Oklahoma Land Rush. And everyone knows the Oklahoma Sooners, and that's how they got their name.
Who was entitled to this? Like, could anyone just show up and say, everyone who wants land? I mean, obviously, back then, you probably have to be like a white guy. But is it any white guy could just do it?
I think there was a small fee. There was a small fee to be able to sign up to be a part of it. But it was a small fee.
I was thinking about surveyors. Like, there was somebody in my neighborhood who there was a dispute on like whose fence was in whose yard or whatever. And this guy was pissed because a fence he thought was over his property line. So they called and got a surveyor out. And it turns out he ended up losing like a considerable amount of his property. But how do these surveyors work? Who like on whose authority is the surveyor operating?
I think the community, the government has a little map with like lines in it.
With like latitude and longitude, because it's like exact. Like apparently he lost like, less than a foot on one side, and then I think it like fucked everything up because then like the neighbors and like I wouldn't care, but some people do.
I mean, what if you find like oil in one little spot that's right between you? Then you want to get those.
You never know, I guess. I don't know. If I found oil in my backyard, like that's a big to do. I don't want to clean that up. Like I know I can get rich off it, but like
you hire people and shit like that. You sell your house, you raise the property of your or raise the value of your property right there.
Right.
But yeah, surveyors are weird, but there are lines. There are like lines drawn, and that's crazy that they have them. Yeah. And I wonder if like some document like is really unclear, so the surveyor just comes out and acts confident. This is it right here, because you can't really like debate him, I guess.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, who's to say this guy's not in the neighbor's pocket? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that sucks for your neighbor, by the way.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of an asshole. He was like making a big stink because he thought that the guy's fence was over his property line, and he turns out he was. That's another thing. Like, where is this guy coming from? How would he know? He's like, no, that's that. You know what? That's over my property line. He doesn't know. Nobody knows. It's invisible lines.
I think a lot of people are bored. A lot of people are bored. They like a little controversy in their life.
Ooh, all right. Well, that kind of leads me. I have a list. They're all kind of good, but here's you said a lot of people are bored. So I'm thankful that a lot of the trends that first popped up in the beginning of quarantine have since faded away. So a big one would be like the puzzle trend. I did a puzzle with Lauren. It was 1,000 pieces. I hated it. It was the worst. Our table was messy forever. And it's just like, it's not fun at all. It's just a task to do. And everyone was doing puzzles and it was this big thing. And I was worried that would then become another part of Americana again. And people would start doing, nobody gives a shit about puzzles anymore. It lasted like two weeks, dude. But that was the worst. And like everyone was baking banana bread. And
I
I
hate
love banana bread, but I don't care to see everybody's banana bread. It's all the same. It's just a lot of this stupid shit that people were doing in the beginning of quarantine, and everyone's like, I'm gonna be, fit 90. I'm gonna be getting, and then everyone just reverted back to themselves, and nobody gives a shit about puzzles. Everyone's watching Netflix and again, and we're all going back to normal, and it happened pretty quickly. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful for that.
I'm thankful for that too, man. Puzzles suck. Although the best
They
thing to
suck.
do if you ever do a puzzle is take a piece and hide it. And then after you finish the puzzle, there's one piece left. For a day, be like, I don't know where it is. And then eventually be like, boom, last
You
piece.
found it.
Yeah.
It just sucks. Like puzzle, our table was messy and it took forever.
Puzzles are terrible.
And like, who wants
You already
to sit,
know,
you have
you
to
already
sit
know what
down
it looks
for
like.
hours.
You already
and
know
you
what it
don't
looks
accomplish anything.
It'd be cool if you didn't know what it looked like, maybe. And it was like at the end there was like a secret message in it or something like that.
Yeah, but then even then, it was a bunch of peppers.
Oh, Brandon,
it was like a big. It was. I think I said 1,000. A 1,500 piece puzzle of just peppers, and it was like most of these peppers are red, some are green. So we didn't know what to do. Like, do we separate the
peppers
pieces into color? And we started to do that, and it took like after 30 minutes, I had sorted 20% of the pieces, and I was like, "Fuck this! I don't want to keep doing this." And we got the edge out because that's easy. And then 9 hours of work later, we finished it, and there's no fanfare, there's no party, nobody cares. It's just, now what do we do? I guess we'll put it away. So
yeah, puzzles. I agree, puzzles suck. And the baking bread thing was so specific that I thought it was weird.
I think because and I did it. Like, I'm not saying that I was better than them. I did a puzzle and I baked banana bread because our bananas went bad. But
I hate banana bread, dude. I love
you
bread.
hate banana bread.
I like cinnamon. Bread. I like cinnamon raisin bread. I like all kinds of breads, but no, dude, banana bread.
You probably just never had good banana bread.
I don't like bananas that much. When I used to have runts as a kid, I would take out all the banana. I would take out all the banana runs and give them to my brother.
I think artificial banana flavor is among the worst. Oh, I love candy. Banana is really bad. I think peach is usually pretty bad too. Grape is good, but it doesn't taste like grapes.
Yeah. Then there's like mango. Candies. Mango can be like anything. I mean, yeah. There's mango flavored things go across the spectrum.
Yep.
But yeah, okay, that's a good one. Stupid ass quarantine trends that became trendy and now they're going away, and you're thankful that they're going away. Same, yo. Same. All right. My next one is I'm thankful for a laugh that I had this weekend. I had a good laugh. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but I was watching college football. Actually, I wasn't watching college football. I was watching something else on my car ride home from Thanksgiving on Saturday, and I got a buzz from ESPN. And it said, Vanderbilt girl kicker Sarah Fuller, first girl kicker ever to kick off for a Big Five conference. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. It got my attention right away. Great headline.
You watched the kick, didn't you?
I watched the kick. And the build-up from the announcers.
The squib.
Yeah, the build-up from the announcers was like, this is epic moment in history, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right. Like, first of all, I thought football was for boys, whatever. She was a goalkeeper for the soccer team. And her opportunity came because of the Vanderbilt specialists were in quarantine due to COVID-19. So it was an option for them. And they let her do it. And the kick sucked. It looked like, did you see the kick?
Yeah, I think it was an intentional squib kick, though.
Dude, I mean, it wasn't a squib kick because it went like 30 yards in the air. It looked like if I kicked it, or like it in the buildup, and then they're like a moment in history. Here it goes.
I mean, it is. I think to be the first to do anything is fucking awesome.
There was actually 2 other girls that kicked in college football. I looked it up, but
not in the Power 5 conference.
Not in a big conference, right? The funny thing is they got blown out. And I looked at the stats. She didn't kick any field goals, and they had another person that did punts, and they punted like 40 times because they were terrible. I wanted to see if she had more opportunities, but the build up, and then the announcers just like went quiet after the kick. Mm-hmm. It was such a bad kick, dude. It was such a weak-legged kick, and I mean, I don't know, like
maybe she was trying to avoid a return because she can't cover a kick. Seriously. That's such a hater.
You don't think she kicked it as far as she could?
No, I don't.
What?
Yeah, I think it was
if she's the goalie, I think it was. I don't think, and even if it was, that's such a hater take. especially coming
mean,
from somebody like you who's like, I love American history. This is like the first person to do it. That's pretty
my
fucking
point was, it was kind of like a cheap laugh. It was like,
cool. It was.
it was a cheap laugh. I was like,
when I saw it, the highlight, I was certainly expecting something else. But then the more I watched it, I was like, this has to have been an intentionally placed kick. If she's the goalie, goalies are the ones that are like booting.
okay,
booting.
so it was like 17-0, and it was the second half kickoff.
Right. Because she can't cover a kick, I'm saying. She doesn't play football, so they're returning.
So she had the one chance. She had play like a girl on her helmet. She had the one chance to boot it just as good as a guy. But just because she didn't want to cover the kick, even though there's 10 other professional guys out there, she shorted it. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think that she can't kick that far. But
hate.
I don't know. I thought it was funny. I thought you would laugh at this.
I wanted to see her kick a field goal.
Brandon.
Are you allowed to like hit her butt after she like did a good play?
Brandon.
Well, I would say probably not.
Yeah, probably not. It depends. No, I was kidding.
No, I mean, the kick was not a great kick, but I honestly thought it was intentional. If it wasn't intentional, then it's.
I didn't even consider the fact that it was intentional. That's why I just had a little giggle. And I guess I'm being rude. I'm trying to be a little funny, but also the build up, the monumental moment, the excitement, and then just a shitty kick. And then like the announcers were quiet, and like the crowd was quiet, and like it just all right, a monumental moment.
Like, they should have saved it for when fans could be back.
I mean,
like nobody was there to see it. I guess it's probably best if that's what she ended up with. I don't think you're being rude. I just thought that it was like, I thought that if anyone to appreciate it would be you, because you're so.
I mean, I appreciate it. That's why I was so interested in the headline of it.
Yeah.
But now, what if
she was trying to boot it, if she was trying to get a touchback, bad luck.
That's dude. It was this. I mean, in regular strategy of football, in the second half kickoff, you want to put it back in the end zone so the other team starts around their 20 or 25. You don't want the team to start at the 40. That's just bad start to the second half. She absolutely tried to kick as hard as she could. I don't know if she flubbed it or if that's as far as she can kick. But either way, that's funny.
What would be better? I guess the flub.
I hope. I mean, that's not good either. A flub kick for like the one monumental moment. But here would be something else that would be funny. You mentioned she didn't want to cover it. What if like the guy broke through,
got blown up,
and got like? Can girls play football? I mean,
what do you mean? Like physically?
Like are the rules? I mean, obviously the rules allow it.
They just can't like physically. They're not big enough.
Like if
you know what I mean?
If one of the guys on special teams would have just laid her out on a block, he probably wouldn't have. But it wouldn't have been illegal, obviously.
No,
yeah,
definitely not. There used to be girl, like I played high school hockey, and they would occasionally there would be a girl, and I never treated them any like differently. I mean, I wouldn't like take a liberty, but
right,
you know, not play like. Wouldn't that be insulting to not like
right?
Try to
it would
body
be insulting. It would be insulting to treat him any differently, I would think. But I just thought it was a giggle because the build up, the excitement, the monumental moment, and then the flub kick, and it was just like, oh. So I was thankful for the giggle. And I thought that was a cool topic. So
the announcers, I mean, that was a funny aspect too. Was the announcers just like fell silent? They had nothing to say. Well,
okay. Oh, really?
For letting a girl play?
Well, he just saw. They're like the worst team in the SEC.
Was that Wake Forest?
No.
Missouri.
Vandy,
oh no, Vanderbilt. Right. Vanderbilt. So he played the girl and then he got fired. That's sexist.
Made history.
Yeah,
it is cool. I will like the thing is it's always like to be the first to ever do something, whatever it is.
But here's the thing: she was the third. So like, how many times are you going to keep swithering it down? The first left-footed girl kicker in the SEC on a Tuesday.
Did the other ones kick in D1?
Yes,
for like Westchester.
Yes, there was two other in D1, but they were smaller conferences.
I mean, Power 5, I guess you. So if somebody kicked for Notre Dame, they would. Like this girl would still have the upper hand because Notre Dame's not in a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, I guess this year they are. But it's like the one time I heard Kevin Hart talk about it. He's like, I was going to be the third black man to host the Oscars. I was like, all right, that's enough of the like.
Let's not qualify this anymore.
I'm the 11th left-handed senator from this half of the state that got elected on a Wednesday when the weather was above 70 degrees. In an even numbered year. Congratulations. All right, you're up.
All right, I'll make this quick. I'm thankful for like having a normal life before all crazy quarantine. Like I'm sure this has been said and beaten to death, but not being able to like go to the movies, go to a restaurant, do things that typically we can do has made me just be thankful and like appreciate the fact that we live in an awesome country. Sure, America has its problems, but it's the best fucking country in the world. Can't wait for life to go back to normal. Go to a movie, go to a restaurant, and just have freedom and do whatever we want.
USA, USA. You're supposed to do one.
Nah,
that's it. That's a good one. And like I said, my life wasn't that affected by it as much as other people's, but I'm always down for a goddamn loving American freedom thing. Are you still in the phase where you appreciated it and you're excited to appreciate it, or like you are back? Is your quarantine over? No, right?
Mine personally, or like
have you gone to you personally, have you gone to like a restaurant? I guess you personally
I haven't
relates
eaten
to
at a restaurant. That's the take.
Really?
I haven't eaten at a restaurant.
Oh, you haven't eaten at a restaurant?
No.
Dude, I gotta say this. My quarantine was I was still able to work, but the restaurants were shut down. March, April, May, probably around June-ish, I went back to a restaurant and I felt like a fucking king. It was the best feeling in the world to go back to a restaurant. It was incredible. It was amazing.
It's hard for us because like we're not going to bring the baby, and like we have to bring the baby.
So you haven't sat down and got weighed-in and got a draft beer and ordered appetizers.
It's like
since
I think
March.
Valentine's Day was the last time.
Oh my God, dude, you are gonna fucking love it when it comes back.
I know, that's what I mean.
I did not understand how much I love that feeling until I had it. And you've had it 3 times as long as me, it seems like. And it is incredible feeling. I love going out, man. They just bring you the food.
I love going to the movies. Like I know a lot of people don't care for it much. I love going to the movies, popcorn, the whole experience. So that's another thing I'm excited for.
All right. And I feel like there's so many great movies released like straight to DVD, and it's like I don't know.
I know.
You know what I mean, not DVD.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. USA, baby. All right, so we each got 4. I got one more. Or I got 2 more. If I had one for a backup in case I needed it.
Narrow it down. Okay.
All right. R.I.P. to Tony Hsieh, and I'm thankful for his life. It's for people who don't know, it's the Zappos founder, Zappos.com, guy who died. And I have a special connection with him more than maybe a random person because not only am I an entrepreneur like him, I also sell products online like him. And I read his book called Delivering Happiness, and I read it early on in my stage of entrepreneurship. And I learned some things that were basic, but there was the first time I really thought about him. And one of the things I specifically learned from him, from that book, was the power of repeat customers and how valuable customers coming back to your site are rather than like expanding to find new customers. Just a little business tip that I'm sure I would have figured out on my own eventually, but I learned it first from him in that book. And dude, he's worth $840 million, sold his company to Amazon, only 46 years old, and he died from a house fire. So I was looking up for some details about how he died from a house fire. And
it happened like weeks ago, didn't it?
So it was complications from a house fire, and that's all I can find. I mean, I dug semi-deep, not super deep, but a house fire, like every time I think of a house fire, I think of how easy it would be to get out of it. Like, you know, like imagine you're at a bonfire at a camp and you just jump over the fire a few times. Like you don't die instantly from being around it. Like maybe his house was so damn big that
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He was like in the heart and the belly of the beast.
But like, honestly, like I love firefighters, and I always thought they got a little bit too much credit for running in to save people from a fire and running out. I feel like it's not that hard. I mean,
I don't think that we've ever seen, neither of us has ever seen a fire that's like going to kill somebody. You know, we've seen like contained bonfires and shit.
Right. I mean, and depending on the situation, I did live in a house that burned down in 7th grade. And I had to spend
you were in it? You were in the house?
No, it was while I was at school.
No shit.
But,
how did that happen?
Dryer went and like lit up. It was when I lived in Chicago. It was right before I moved, and I spent Easter in a hotel. And by the way, Easter in the hotel was awesome because the Easter egg hunt was in the elevator in the lobby across the different floors. Amazing Easter that I spent in a hotel. But thankful for Tony Hesh. I mean, I never know how to say his name. It's Tony Hsieh, but it's spelled like fucking Hesh or something like that. And also he's a sellout for selling his company to Amazon. But now
Well,
he's
he's like before that, he was like the opposite of a sellout. Like
Right.
I hit you
Right.
up on Twitter about it because I one of the very few things that I liked about Westchester's marketing curriculum is I had to do some like basically a research paper on this guy, and it was all about like company culture and how he went about building it by like just being a man of the people, sitting in a
Yes.
cube in the middle of the floor. Like he made like he made like 80K or something, and
Yeah.
took like a really modest salary, and people loved him. And he had, I mean, it was one of the first companies that started like really putting a lot of energy and investment
company
into just like
culture.
company culture, making
Yeah.
sure you're giving
And
back to
actually, I
employees and
actually
they're happy.
remember reading that book. And dude, employees being happy is very important. I mean, there's only so much you can do, like depending on what the job is. I mean, I have a lot of like okay jobs that I give, but I always try to make sure they're happy in the simplest ways that I can. I mean, there's only so much I can do, but I learned that from him. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I always remember him talking about how quirky his company was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would never probably be able to fit into that culture because he was like super quirky and like goofy and like
Hawaiian shirt,
wear sunglasses and like a silly hat and be like, ah.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. I get the message about important company culture, but I don't know if I would like to be part of that culture.
Right. Well, not for you.
Not for me, exactly.
That's kind of the point, you know?
Exactly. That's the point. So RIP, and I'm thankful for him.
Shout out free shipping as well. That was like a huge part of that company. I loved it. Cool. Yeah, good one. RIP. All right. Final. Right. This is the last one.
Yeah, last one.
I have a couple too. At the bottom of the barrel. So all right. So I've been working from home since March, right? Still not in the office.
Yeah.
It has its drawbacks. It's been nice. It's been not nice in some ways. Probably maybe the best part that I'm the most thankful for is that I'm not going to be in the office around the holidays. So no like Secret Santa, nothing, no like forced like holiday traditions in the office, which I'm just over the moon about. I hate a Secret Santa. There's nothing I want that you can get me for like $15 or $20, whatever it is. It's always it's just not something I enjoy. I always feel like I have to do it. So I'm thankful I don't have to do that this year.
That's a good one. We're doing a Secret Santa.
Ugh.
But the one thing I like about so we have birthdays at our office. Whenever someone's birthday, we get we get lunch for the employees when it's their birthday, and we have to go over there. And I like doing it, but like I'm usually pretty busy around 12:30 on a weekday, and like so. But we do it. It's nice. And the one thing that we do that we've done the last 3 years is we have a company party, and that's the one time a year I get drunk with my employees, and so that I look forward to, and we do the Secret Santa then, so that's fine. One of my employees got DUI last year, so this year we might do a little bit of a Uber strategy or something like that. But it's weird because like everyone lives in different places. Do I have to get him an Uber here and back? Like, or have to work out the logistics? But probably
get it just like a shuttle service.
Yeah, but they all live in such different places that the shuttle is inefficient.
Are you already like practicing how to pretend that you're excited about whatever $10 gift you get? Like, how do you? What's the best way to do that? Sucks.
I'm just usually pretty honest. Like if I get like a good employee who has me, I ask for something like this one time my employee made me a plaque in 2016. I still have it. It says Boss of the Year 2016, Sean Lowery. And I haven't gotten it since then. And then if I get an employee who doesn't really care, they'll get me like I put one thing that's like something with my name on it or like the company's name on it that we can like hang up. And that's like a lot of work. And the second thing I'll put on the list, because you put like suggestions for what you want. And the other thing I put like a Monster Energy drinks. And
I love in The Office, Kevin gets himself for Secret Santa. And he's like, yeah, I was going to tell somebody, but I figured I'll just buy it. So he bought himself something for like $20. He knows he's going to like it. Like, it's perfect. It's just such a forced thing that I'm so happy that I don't have to do this year. So,
dude, I actually going to love The Office. One line I just got to say this from The Office that I love that I just was listening to and it's so funny. It was Pam and Jim's wedding, and Steve Carell, whatever the fuck his name is, Michael. He's like, everyone gets people cash for their weddings. How much cash does a person need? I got him a painting. That's just one of my favorite lines. How much cash does a person need?
Also, he says he paid for Phyllis's wedding. Because he's his boss. Technically, I signed her check, so I've been paying for her.
My favorite part about his character is how he's so bad with money and poor. It's so funny. All right, we won't get off too far off topic, but those are things we're thankful for. And goddamn,
And a lot more, and a whole lot more.
I'm just so thankful for everything in the world. And that is a good way to be. Being thankful for everything is just a great personality trait. And I suggest everybody be thankful for everything. All right. That's a good one. Brandon, next question.
Question 2. Chappelle posted on his Instagram that he wants people to boycott his show, The Chappelle Show. He asked if you're ever a fan of him, liked any of his stuff, to please boycott it because he's not getting paid for it. What are your thoughts?
You want me to start?
Sure. I know you're a big
Last
Chappelle
week
fan.
on the Sean Lowery Show, I talked shit on Dave Chappelle, and I said that he's one of my least favorite celebrities because he's so overrated. So there's this thing called Unforgiven, and it's basically, I watched the whole thing. It's basically him doing a little thing about, the Chappelle Show and the money about it. So first thing was, obviously this wasn't funny. I don't think it was meant to be too funny, but it was the same tone as the thing I ripped on last time, the 846, where it's like him talking for 20 minutes about commentary on society, not necessarily stand-up, so it's not that funny. So obviously it wasn't funny, so okay, more non-funny Dave Chappelle. Okay. But I respect what he said. He has the right to say it, but one thing I didn't like that he said, and for the people listening who don't know, he basically was saying, I signed a deal with Comedy Central for the Chappelle Show. They sold it to Netflix to play. It's playing on Netflix at this current moment, and I'm not getting any money from that, and that's bullshit. And the contract I signed with them, it's legal, but it's not fair. That's what he was saying. And
You can't use his name and likeness.
Yeah, well, they can't
have a Chappelle Show. It'd have to be a different show.
So they have the right to do whatever they want with it.
Right.
But he's saying if he wanted to do another Chappelle Show, right, he couldn't even use the name The Chappelle Show because they own the likeness to it. So it's absolutely 100% legal. 100% legal.
And he's not arguing that it's not.
He's not arguing that it's not. And he has every right to ask people to do that, for sure. It was a little bitchy and complaining because you know how many deals that networks sign that they lose money on? Like, just because he was successful and he has become such a big star, he probably does deserve more than he signed the contract for sure. But you shouldn't have signed it then. You should have got better lawyers. You should have made a better deal. So, okay, but he does have the right to ask people to not watch it. And I like that Netflix actually did take it down because they wanted to keep a relationship with him. They listened to what he said. So the power of his voice and how popular he's grown, it didn't exponentially grow how much he made on his contract, but it did help him get the show off and kind of show his power. So he deserves that. He earned that. The other thing I didn't like that he said, though, was he said, I'm the only motherfucker out here talking about this. Fucking Kanye has been going crazy about how unfair it is that recording companies own the masters of the artist. Taylor Swift's had a big
Very
beef.
similar.
So Kanye went out there and tweeted, of course, Kanye tweeted a dead link to the PDF. Then he's like, oh, all right, I'll just tweet every single line of it. So Kanye tweeted like 50 tweets in a row showing everything of his contract. Kanye's been on a fucking furious rant about how unfair it is. He said, I'm sorry to Taylor Swift because she's been in the same dilemma. So he wasn't the first one to bring this thing to my attention. It was Kanye West. And he was like, I'm the only guy talking about this. So I didn't like that either. He's got the right to do it, but it's legal. And sure, it was a little complaining, to be honest, a little whiny. Why doesn't he?
It was a complaint.
I mean, yeah, it was a complaint, and it was a.
So it'd be hard to.
So I watched Dave Chappelle again. Is his point valid? Sure. It's not funny. It's him bitching about something that Kanye already brought to the people's attention, and Taylor Swift brought it to people's attention, and it wasn't not that profound. Yes,
it's a little bit different than a music deal, but
how so? The masters for the Chappelle Show are exact same thing as Taylor Swift.
But it's like his name and likeness. It'd be like if Taylor Swift couldn't release an album under an independent label or by herself called like Taylor Swift or something. You know what I mean?
He can start another show.
What's that?
He can start another show. He just can't use the name.
Right, but he can't use his name.
Show.
Right.
Well, he could call it the Dave Show. Or
Taylor Swift could record the same music again and sell it herself.
And she's been debating doing that. Well, he could do all the same sketches over again.
No. What, are you saying all the same sketches?
I mean, in theory.
I mean, so I know you're just a hater of Chappelle. What about like amazing storyteller? Hopefully you can agree with that. He's a great storyteller. There's the two
Okay.
like comparisons that the 3-card Monty thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, all these motherfuckers were friends, and I saw them, and they all, were dapping each other up afterwards. And that's kind of what he said. You said, get a better lawyer. Like the lawyers are kind of in on it. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought it's kind of unprecedented hearing somebody I've never heard somebody say, if you support me, if you're a fan of mine, don't watch my shit.
Yeah. So that headline is cool because it's a persuasive headline. It's different. Boycott me. And it kind of, brings attention to it. So I like the headline. I like the 3-card Monty story, which was he played the cards at the street. Everyone was in on it. He didn't know. He got his money taken away. And he said it's very similar to that when you have your lawyers and your executives all at the table. But I mean, shit. I mean, of course, we all sign contracts that are long and wordy.
Well, why would you, like, it kind of, for me, brought up the question, like, why would you, in today's day and age, like, why sign with a record label? Is it for like publishing or like marketing?
Dude,
like if you're skilled enough,
because they do all the fucking work.
But just do it yourself. It's not that hard to market yourself anymore with social media and shit.
I mean, it's easier than it was before, for sure.
Right.
Definitely easier than it was before, which is a reason why if you're a young artist coming up in the game, it's much easier to be independent now than it was before.
I think Chance the Rapper was impossible, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he signed to a label.
There's
Lil Dicky, I think. Chance the Rapper.
I mean, this goes back to the internet thing. It was basically impossible before.
Mac Miller. Yeah.
Now it's much more possible to do.
So why, like, same with somebody like, I guess for TV, you would need like a network or a Netflix or something, but you could just make shit on YouTube. And then, like, do you know the, what's it called? The Real Bros of Simi Valley or something? It's like, it started as like a YouTube show, and it's like,
yeah. I don't know that about it.
Like they just started making content, and then it got picked up by like Facebook or I don't know, some other.
Yeah, dude, so many people out there. Logan Paul, fucking David Dobrik, all these like TikTokers and YouTubers.
That's a different story, but like, what's the big deal with
well, they're independent.
Logan Paul.
Logan
I know
Paul,
his brother just was a boxer. Like, what is he?
His brother is not. His brother is not a boxer. His brother fights. They are. So, want to know where they started? Both the Paul brothers.
The fuck out.
Yeah. Like, he also was a rapper. You should look Jake Paul music videos. He's got some good songs. The Paul brothers started on Vine. They were Vine sensations. They went to Ohio University, where I went my freshman year. They were Vine stars. And this goes to the conversation because they were independent. They started on Vine, then they started making YouTube videos. They built a following organically. Now they have podcasts. They do music videos. And Jake Paul is cool as shit. He started doing these fights. Logan Paul was the guy who went and did a vlog of like the Japanese forest where people kill themselves.
Right. Yep.
And he like put that on things. But
so like I've heard his name, that not the boxer, but the other one. I've heard his name, Logan Paul, before a lot, but I never knew why he's famous. And so he was on Vine.
Vine, TikTok, podcasting, YouTubing, pranks, funny little videos, but all started on Vine with like funny little like videos and things like that. Now he's got a cool ass studio. They're rich as fuck. Like they made a lot of money. They sell merch too. They have like a clothing. They're independent. They're two different guys. They actually have like a rivalry, which is cool. But that is how you can do it this day and age without people. And dude, but it fucking helps. Like if you just want to sit around and make music, you get the studio to, first of all, give you money, a signing bonus, a guaranteed money. And if you flop and you're not a hit, then who's ripped off then?
You also have to buy, like, pay for your own production and shit on albums, which a lot of people
absolutely do. Microphones, sound equipment, everything I've had to do here at this podcast, studio time. It's the difference between being, say you're a chef. It's the difference between starting your own restaurant and going to work for a big corporation. It's being an entrepreneur versus not being an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you one thing about entrepreneurship. It's fucking difficult. It's impossible. It's so hard. There's so many things you have to deal with. Everything's on your shoulders. You get a big ass check with the record labels. They give you, they make you feel like a star.
You get a big check. I think that's the thing. Like, you don't necessarily get a big ass check.
Every contract is different. I mean, I think I heard that Chappelle renegotiated after the second season because it was a hit. So he renegotiated.
Well, he left after the second season.
Is that the one he left after? How many seasons of the Chappelle Show are there?
I think there's 2.
There's only 2.
And he was like gearing up for a third, and that's when he quit.
Okay, I heard something about him renegotiating after, but
he did. He renegotiated for a huge deal.
But imagine, if he didn't do that deal, he never would have got the distribution of Comedy Central, and YouTube wasn't as big then. And do you know how much budget and editing and film work goes into those skits? Like a lot. And he would have had to done that all on his own. He would have had to hire a cameraman, pay for the cameras. Like it's a good deal. It's a good deal. And there was no guarantee that was going to be a success. So at the time, he signed it. It was a good deal. Now that he's such a star, he's kind of complaining about it. He has a right, I guess. But at the time, if you go back in time, I bet you he would have signed it again.
I mean, I get that. You're saying, knowing what he knows now, he would have signed it again?
I mean, he probably would have worded it. He probably would have worded the contract.
He's been outspoken against the shit since he quit. Like, he disappeared. I don't know if you remember this, but he disappeared for years and then resurfaced doing stand-up very successfully. And I think he had a $50 million deal with Netflix. And also great move on Netflix part. Like, keep the man happy, you know? Pet the eagle, you get what you want. Like, hey, listen, you want us to take it off? You're kind of our sweet little prince, and you're making us a shit ton of money. Yeah, whatever it takes to make you happy. So hopefully he makes another. He mentioned he's been thinking about making another sketch comedy show.
Dude,
hopefully he does, and it'd be Netflix, and that'd be awesome.
I would love, and they could maybe pay a royalty for the name, or just do a different name. Who cares?
Right.
And that could be part of his thing. It's not this name.
Happy. Keep the talent happy. Pay him a royalty. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I know it's not part of the deal, but shit, it's a bit of an extenuating circumstance. Wouldn't you want, if you were Comedy Central, wouldn't you want to keep him happy and all right, let's talk. Maybe then when he has his new show, if it comes out, he might go through that. But now
I don't think he would go to Comedy Central now.
If they did this, they might. That's what I'm saying. You're buying some paper back. But it's an interesting topic because it's been talked about so much recently.
Yeah. Overall, it's interesting. The Masters conversation is interesting. One of my favorite people is Scooter Braun. That motherfucker's a badass because he was fucking with Taylor Swift. And dude, I would not fuck with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is one of the most strongest people that I respect the most. She's a fucking badass. And Scooter Braun come in, bought her Masters, kind of fucking with her. But it's a good conversation because of the Masters and the contracts and all that. But overall, another Dave Chappelle commentary, not that funny. Kind of him complaining a little bit.
You need to watch one of his stand-ups. A full one. And maybe one from back in the day. And go in with an open mind, without your preconceived notions. And you can't not think it's funny. It's just subjectively or objectively very funny.
All right. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. But all right, that's the topic. And we can keep bringing up Dave Chappelle on this podcast because he's going to listen to it. So Dave, when you listen, you're welcome to come on the show and show me how funny you are. All right, Brandon, next question.
Question 3. Did you get anything on Black Friday? And what's your worst purchase ever?
You start.
I was certainly not going to buy anything. I feel like we were robbed on Black Friday a little bit this year. We talked about this before, but we didn't get to see any crazy stampedes and people getting bowled over and the lunatics who cut each other's throats for an Xbox or something. We didn't get any of those videos because of COVID. So that's high up on the list of things that we missed out on and why I hate this coronavirus. Those are my favorite.
There's little headlines or little stories about local woman run over in the hospital,
trampled to death,
ribs.
Yeah. Or people
awesome.
They're in a nice orderly line and then you see somebody come to unlock the door and all of a sudden everyone just rushes to the front, pushes against the door and it breaks open. It's crazy. People revert to cavemen.
Yeah,
they
tribal
buy
instincts.
The newest Barbie doll or whatever the hell it is. So I was like, no, when I was a kid, I would wait outside stores with my brother, but it was more like a tradition thing. And it was very orderly and they would give you a ticket here. You were the first 50 in line for this TV. You can come back later in the day if you want
a
get the TV or whatever. But I always avoid Black Friday sales. I did buy, there was an old school Phillies jacket. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was like, this is going to be perfect for going to those early spring baseball games where it's a little chilly. I'll put this on. And then I bought it. And now I remember that there's not going to be any fans at sporting events for fucking 2 months or 2 years. I mean,
yeah, by the way, a couple months ago, you asked me to make you a custom Eagles hat.
Yeah.
Why did you want me to do that? Because you wanted to have a one of one, or you couldn't find something?
Sort of. all of the hats that I could find were like either super gaudy and like flat, like
Okay.
really ugly, or just something that everyone had. I don't know. I wanted
Okay.
something unique,
All
something
right.
different,
Unique.
and
One of one. I like that.
one of one, yeah.
But dude,
And I think it would be like a good design. But
I hate
yeah,
shopping.
shopping sucks.
I like I have like I need clothes sometimes. Like I need stuff sometimes. I mean, I just buy it online. But I hate I get like panicked whenever I have to go to the
Hmm.
store to buy clothes. Sometimes I'll be like, have all the time in the world and somebody wants to go into the store. I'm like, all right. And I walk in there and I'm like, I gotta get the hell out of here. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is. I
me
sell
too.
clothing for a living. I hate shopping for clothes
Did you
so
buy anything
much.
on Black Friday?
Fuck no, I didn't buy anything on Black Friday. I mean, I
You
don't know why I
did.
said fuck no. I just didn't because so I'm on the other side of this thing, man. I every Black Friday, every Cyber Monday, a little humble, braggadocious, like our sales have gone off the fucking chart the past 7 days. And it happens every year. Every year I'm like, I think we're gonna get here and just skyrockets over it. So people are absolutely shopping and I'm just I can't even I'm astonished by how many sales I've had recently. Which so that's my Black Friday. I was just selling. And by the way,
Yeah.
selling meant doing nothing. I already had all this stuff set up. So I would just check my phone every once in a while. Um, but if I need something, I buy it and I'm not savvy or care enough to wait for a deal. So I'm one of the people who
Sure.
a company will get, like if I need it, I'm going to buy it when it's convenient for me to buy it. And I'm not a very savvy shopper. For as much of like a businessman I am like I'm not cheap. I'm not like frugal. I'm not very frugal. I'm good with money, but I'm very bad at being frugal. And I think it's a good trait because what's worse than someone who's like trying to save a penny here and there?
Nothing.
I mean, if you would do it in your own world or you're a shopper and it's fine, but like, oh God, I hate people who are like trying to save a penny like out at dinner or like here and there, like, and it affects like
Agreed.
your surroundings. It's one of my least favorite
Agreed.
traits.
Just such a buzzkill. Like ruins the vibe. It's the quickest way to ruin a vibe is being like a cheap penny pincher and like arguing over a difference of like $6. You know what I mean?
Couldn't agree more. And on the business side, uh, it's also a negative way because if you put all your energy towards, I bet you I have a few bills going through my account that I could call and lessen. But if I spend all my energy trying to penny pinch my bank account, that's not where entrepreneurs should be spending their time. Like I'm
Right.
sure, like it's everything about being cheap always seems to be bad to me. Now, maybe I'm a little more fortunate.
As an entrepreneur.
If you're broke though, you need to be cheap.
Yeah,
That's a
for
different
sure.
story. If you don't have that much, or you're just starting off, and I was Souza, who I was one of our friends who I started business with. He thinks I'm the cheapest motherfucker, but it's just because we had no money, so like I had to be cheap. But I'm not cheap. But so I didn't buy anything on Black Friday.
What's the worst purchase you've ever made?
Okay,
I have one.
okay, you go first.
But it's not a big purchase, but it was actually why that hat. I asked you to make that hat because I was like searching all over for like a unique, cool Eagles hat, or like flyers, some sort of hat, and looked all over. Found these like old ass snapback hats that I really liked, and they were all like either super expensive, or just like nobody was selling them. I just found like people like showing them off. So I finally found one on eBay. Never buy anything off eBay. Bought it on eBay. So excited. It finally came, and it was made for like a squirrel. It would have fit on my thumb. It was tiny, smallest hat in the world, and I was so incredibly bummed out. And that's when I was like, "Fucking, I'm buying a blank hat. I'm gonna ship it to you to print on it," because I was so bummed out.
It's like
And
in
that was, I
Zoolander when
mean,
he's like, "What is this? A museum for ants?"
right. That's kind of how I felt. And I mean, it wasn't super expensive, but it was more like the energy and time that I spent finding it
Yeah,
and being
yeah.
so excited. I was like, oh man, I like scoured the depths of the internet to find this thing. Finally found it. What an awesome find. And it's made for an infant. So
It needs to be at
that's
least 3 times this big.
yeah. And I have a
Okay.
huge head. So even if it was made for a regular adult, it would have been too small.
Worst thing I ever bought was I moved into my house is for sale. I'm selling my house, which is kind of crazy. Like, whatever. So when I first moved into my house about 4 years ago, no, April 2017, I had this vision that I was going to make a secret room in my house. I was so excited for it. It was going to be in the attic because we have a big attic, and I was going to create through the regular entrance to the attic's in the hallway. In my walk-in closet, I wanted to make the attic through there, so I could only access it from my room. And then I was going to have it be blocked off so that if you did go up to the attic through the regular, you wouldn't be able to see it. You just think that's where the wall is. And behind that, I was going to have a secret room. Was so excited about this. So first month I got the house, I bought a lawnmower, a saw, a bunch of plywood. Now lawnmower, I stopped mowing my lawn. That's not really part of it.
Lawnmower?
Yeah. Like house stuff is the bad stuff I bought. But I don't mow my lawn anymore. But I bought literally like 5 different saws because I kept getting the wrong one. And I bought all this plywood. And my house came with these like
yourself.
I was gonna try to do it myself.
Jesus.
So my house came with these if there's ever a hurricane, each window has like a piece of wood that you put over it for the hurricane. So I started by using those. So I went up in the attic, I took a bunch of those and I put them down on the floor. And then I started bringing up the plywood and I kind of started to envision it. And I cut a hole in my ceiling, a square rectangle hole to go up there. And I was all ready to do this. So 3 weeks in, I have all this stuff in the garage, a saw, even bought one of those like things that's like a horse thing where like you have the 2 legs and you put the saw and you put the wood on it and so you can saw and then it falls apart. It gives it a little leverage. But all these tools. So after the first week, I accidentally stepped on my ceiling and put 2 holes in my ceiling. And those recently, before I got my house ready to sell, I had to pay a bunch of money to get those fixed up. And I didn't tell anyone about the rectangle hole in my closet because I'm too embarrassed. So I'm just going to have whenever the house gets inspected, they're going to find it. And I'm just going to, hopefully I can like kind of be away by then.
You need to do that before your house gets inspected because that happens after you sell the house and that'll fuck up the sale.
Like
you need to address that before you get your house inspected because they will literally, you have to redo everything. You have to redo contracts, the offer, everything goes out the window because they'll appraise it way lower.
I'll take off. I'll take off like $1,000.
Good thing that you didn't finish because had you finished that room by yourself, I mean, first you have to teach yourself how to use a hammer because you're the least handy guy that's ever existed. Had you finished that room, the value of your house would have been cut in half. Seriously.
I swear to God, my original vision was just going to increase the value of the house. Like I had this vision. I had this vision where like I'm selling the house and I'm showing people around. And like, first of all, I found out that you're actually not allowed to be in the house when the people come in. But Shelby was going to go talk to the wife. And then I was going to bring the husband in and be like, yo, check out this room. And I was going to like show him up there and show him it was going to be epic. Dude, I had all planned for it. Actually, still up in that attic is a chair that I had up there that I hung out there a lot when I first got it because I was so excited about this attic. I was just going to make it. And it just went to shit. The holes in the ceiling, unintentional holes in the ceiling that I stepped, and then the intentional hole in the ceiling, which I'm too embarrassed to even get fixed. And I'm just going to deal with the repercussions of it whenever it arises. And I think I'm going to say something like, oh, I had this vision to have a second entrance to the attic. And it didn't work out because like it's not something I stepped on. It's a perfectly square rectangle that I sawed into the.
Tell him you did it like in your sleep, or just be like, I don't know, man. Just claim that you have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's here.
Yeah. So. I don't know. Get away. Maybe like maybe like smoke weed up there. But like now like there's like all the smokeless stuff, so that's not really so necessary.
I'd love to see your sales pitch of the guy. You bring the guy up there and he's like, Jesus Christ. Or like, oh, this is where I murder people is essentially what you'd be telling him. But you'd be like, be too cool. See this? That's some exposed insulation right there. So that's
no. I was gonna put a little rug. I was gonna put a little rug.
A lava lamp.
Yeah, I was gonna go lava.
You're gonna somehow try to wire the electric up there.
Yeah, well, I'd run an extension cord probably.
Yeah, but I wish you would have finished that.
I have not been up to my attic in 2 years.
It would be the creepiest room of all time.
No, well, there's a big window in there that has a lot of good natural light. So
you know what it takes to like make a room? You thought this was going to be some like really nice room, exposed insulation and plywood everywhere, holes in the wall.
People have like finished attics and finished basements. I was going to have a finished room in the attic, and it was going to be secretive. The fact, and if anyone else went up in the attic through the regular entrance, they look around and they'd be like, okay, this looks normal. They wouldn't think anything was behind this wall over there. So I just always wanted to have a secret room in my house. I always wanted a secret room. And when I first bought this house, the first thing I did was look around. I'm like, where's the secret room going to be? Where's the secret room? And I had all this attic space. And I was like, ugh. So
for future reference, like pay somebody to do that.
Yeah.
That knows how to use a screwdriver.
But just imagine pitching an idea to like the contractor and be like, dude, you have 4 bedrooms and you only have 2 people that live here that sleep in the same room. What the hell do you need an extra room for?
Like the ceiling is 3.5 feet tall. Like it's so illegal to do this.
The ceiling's super high, dude. My attic is big.
I'm just saying.
But in my garage are still all these fucking tools, all these saws, all this shit I never use.
Hold on to them.
I mean, dude, when I move out, I'm probably gonna have to just like get rid of a bunch of shit. And I'm never doing handiwork again. As I've been successful in business, as I've done a little better, I'm never mowing my lawn again. I'm never fucking doing handiwork again. Fuck that. I mean, it's just not my skill set. It's not my skill set.
This is the problem with
you think Jeff Bezos. You think Jeff Bezos does his own fucking handiwork?
Do you have $100 billion?
I mean, do you think?
I bet Jeff Bezos knows how to do some shit around the house. That's what men used to be able to do.
I could do some shit around the house if I have to put together like this desk right here. I fucking did it because I had to. I didn't want to.
You had instructions.
Yeah.
If you had to like fix a toilet,
I installed my bidets.
Don't you see the value in having just like handy skills and being able to fix things?
No, that's outdated. That's outdated. I don't fucking need to do that.
You're too busy applying bronzer and sitting in tanning beds and shit to learn how to pick up a fucking power tool. But
what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
It's such a
remember that one time in college?
It's such a shame. Not that I'm Mr. Fix It, but I love learning how to fix stuff around the house. There's nothing like you can find how to do anything on YouTube. I fixed my lawnmower. I fixed the engine of my lawnmower. That was awesome. Fixing stuff around the house is amazing.
Fuck that. I got other hobbies. I like to maximize my skills in the things that make me money and not worry about the things.
You're an entrepreneur, but I think that it's a just the pussification.
And I did my lawn for a year. I did my own lawn for a year, and I literally got a community violation for how bad it looked.
The lawn I understand, but like knowing how to fix things and be handy around the house, that's not a wasted skill. That's something that people need to know how to do.
Unless you can hire someone.
So,
question 4. Biden is transitioning to become the next president. Trump still denies it. What are your thoughts on the transition and how America feels about the election?
Trump got cheated. Biden's a socialist dog. He's going to sneak us into a communist Russia.
How quickly Trump turned into just like a sad, defeated, pathetic little thing.
Like, you know how much I love Trump. Love.
It's such a bad look.
Like, one of my favorite people, Scott Adams, he always talked about how politics, there's like 2 movies going on. 2 movies. And people are watching the same thing through 2 movies. The movie of like the Russia and the impeachment and the movie of like, haha, look at these idiots. Our country's going amazing. I always kind of saw it through the movie of liking Trump. And I don't blame myself at all. That was the best. That was the right movie, I think. But in the world of the movies, in my world, my personal world, they're kind of coming together. And like, I couldn't be more confident about the future of the country. And the storyline stuff is what matters to some people than the real stuff. I'm more concerned about the real stuff. He does look like an absolute baby. He looks like an absolute baby. I mean, there's one thing about like winning. You always win at all costs. Like I respect that. Like Tom Brady screaming on the sidelines, like Michael Jordan being an absolute dickhole because all he cares about is winning, like murdering to win. Like there's something I respect about somebody who's just a winner at all costs. Like I like that. But this is embarrassing, man.
But when Tom Brady loses, he's pissed, but he doesn't say like we got cheated. He doesn't say like the refs fucked us or they deflated the footballs or, whatever. That's such a loser mentality. And it's a little bit like it's dangerous because so many people hang on every word this guy says. So everyone, they're like, well, even though literally zero proof of anything has been shown and I've lost every single case that I've not like I believe him. It's coming, boy. When you see what we have coming, so you're gonna be shocked.
I see a lot less of that, like in the past week or two than I did 5 weeks ago.
It's funny that he's like, all right, I'll start the transition of power, but it's kind of the same way you're dealing with that hole in your wall, where he's like, I'll figure it out. I always do. I'll figure it out. Like, all right, you guys, you can start the transition of power, but like, just wait till you see what we have coming. The world's going to be blown away when they see what we uncover. And like he's ticking. Obviously, you lost.
Got it. I feel like it
would behoove him to just suck it up, wipe the blood off his lip, and be like, all right, Trump 2024.
It seems like his strategy is to. I wonder if he would do that. I feel like his strategy is to keep the bravado, keep the storyline alive that I got cheated. So then, when he does go to a rally, when he's not president in 2 years, he can just like get the crowd riled up with that same like I got cheated. Like in that sense,
but that's not good.
I kind of get it.
That's what I hate about Donald Trump is that's so bad for the country. But he doesn't give a shit about the country. He just cares about himself. He just wants his supporters to be behind him. So if that means like fracturing the country, if half of the country thinks that he was cheated, that's so bad. That's such a bad.
So I actually have a note on this. Like, the dangerous people saying Trump is dangerous. His rhetoric is dangerous. You've heard that throughout the past 4 years. I never believe that because I trust and love the country so much.
Yeah.
I trust and love the country so much that I never believed that anything he did was dangerous. People just thought Obama was going to make us socialists, never even came close. He thought Trump was going to start World War II, never came close. Like, I don't think it's dangerous at all because it just proves again how strong the country is. Like the transition starting, everything's going to be normal. Like there's anything he could do or say that would like ruin the foundation of the country.
This is the worst thing that he's done for sure. Because if 50% of the
There's no way 50%.
He was rigged. If 30% of the country truly believed that everything was stolen,
what percentage of people do you think truly believe it?
30%,
dude. I think probably like
third?
11%, 12%. Like it's a small percentage. Like I voted for the guy. If I go back, I vote for him again. I love the guy.
Such a bad look though. Like he has people who hang on every word he says, and he just won't give it up. And there's no. If he was right,
dude,
then it'd be one thing. But there's no evidence that he is.
He hasn't been out like he's just been tweeting, but he hasn't like I haven't seen him in so long. Like
I know, I love to think about him just moping around the White House.
He's just moping
being
around,
sad, eating ice cream, and like
I heard he might do a rally to like try to help someone in Georgia or something. And I was trying to imagine what that rally would be like because it's tough for him without his bravado.
It would be all about him.
He's definitely moping around,
kicking rocks and stuff.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, I feel a little bad for him, but not really. I mean, if you can't
Why would you feel bad for him? You can't feel bad for him.
I don't. Actually, I take that back. I don't feel bad for him. My point was that I don't feel bad for him. I wanted to lead it with, I feel a little bad for him, but I don't. I don't feel bad for him at all. He's Mr. Tough Guy.
He lost.
Talking shit to everyone. I know, and he does not have his best point on the election fraud is the same thing I thought early on that confused me. It's just, I can't believe this many people voted. Like, do you believe, so he has no good cases for why he lost. If he had something that was like good, he would keep saying it. The only thing he has is, do you really believe more people voted for Biden than Obama? I actually do have a little trouble like believing that, but
so many people hated him. Like there's a few reasons that I think that would be.
I do believe it.
One, so many people hated him, and also it was a lot easier to vote this year because of the mail-in voting.
Easier and issues were more prevalent, like that related to people wanting to vote, and I do believe it. I just that was my first shock. Like, holy shit, I can't believe it because Biden. No one voted is super excited about Biden. Like,
right.
I gotta say though, I fucking like Joe Biden, man.
Cool guy.
I always liked him. I mean, I'm not fired up about him. I don't fucking love him, but he's just like he's saying all the right stuff. Like he's just like, hey guys, come on.
Right. Come on.
It's all good, guys. And he didn't like
he sprained his ankle though.
I heard about that.
That was my favorite Trump maybe ever from Trump. It was like a video of Joe Biden leaving the hospital clinic, whatever it was, and he just said like "feel better!" !
Really?
I don't know his angle. I'm assuming he's being sarcastic. He's like, "Oh, this old man is fragile," but yeah, I thought it was funny.
It'll be fun to see. You remember the optics?
It's fun to see Trump melting down. Like
you remember
this.
the optics?
You know what happened, but it's pretty great to see.
You remember the optics of Obama handed it over to Trump, going off in the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
How is he going to play that?
Here's the other thing. That's a good question, and related to that, it's like all the people that have tied themselves to Trump, like his press secretary, that
Coley,
whatever.
McElhaney.
She was like, he was not given a peaceful transition. It was blah, blah, blah. So why should he afford the same? And then they show like a video of that transition. And like the day after the election, he was in the White House and they were being so cordial and so polite to him. And it's like,
there's that note
crazy.
that one president writes to the next president. I wonder what Trump will write.
It's just going to say, fuck you. You know?
Yeah. Biden's a good guy, though.
Know,
and
man.
honestly, we said this before, but politics are more boring already.
Yeah, which is good.
I mean, I guess it's good. Yeah. Like sometimes if I want to like a cheap like hit, I'll see what the View's bitching about or people being outraged about Trump. Or like,
you love the View.
I love the View, man. I love the View. And I like the View because I look at them as the outraged media perspective on anything, and it's fun to watch them. And just they were off for like a couple weeks during the campaign, and then they came back, and I immediately started liking Trump more because like after they came back, because they're just so silly, man. But I think it's going to be so boring, and that's going to be fine. And I think Biden will be fine. He's not going to be able to pass anything through. The stock market's up because it's just going to be boring. And no malarkey.
No malarkey. I love that saying. And like
I like that saying.
Fair.
I like it.
Have you ever seen so much malarkey in your entire life right now? Like this is the most malarkey that's maybe ever existed. So cut out the malarkey. Let's move forward.
Like his SNL character and his jokes about him is going to be like.
I wonder who's going to play him.
Well, Jim Carrey seems to have it. I don't know if
that ain't working.
Right. It's not working.
I can't imagine that. No.
That'll continue. Do you think he's a good Joe Biden?
No.
Oh, I don't think
that they'll continue. Really? I think it's it's just like so. Like I guess he kind of looks like him and it has the mannerisms, but there's nothing else to it.
He looks like him so much. Like he's the only guy I've ever seen do makeup.
But there's nothing really that funny about Biden yet. There will be, but like they don't
it's going to be like George Bush. It's going to be like George Bush. Gaffes,
right.
Gaffes and things. But the funny part is like when you talk about like Jimmy Fallon does little bits about him, and it's just like him like rambling about the 1920s. I played with a ball and a stick and like little stuff like that, like how old he is and how like back at the pool with Corn Pop, me and him used to do this and that, like little antics from like the back in the day. Those are kind of funny. It's gonna be a stretch though.
Hot take. This is unrelated, but I think Jimmy Fallon's gonna be out of a job in like 2 years.
I love Jimmy Fallon.
He sucks. His show is awful. And he is
one thing I've learned about late night comics is that they do evolve. I used to think Trevor Noah sucked, and Trevor Noah is much better now.
He's gotten way worse.
I think he's gotten better. I think it used to be terrible.
No. Jimmy Fallon's gotten way worse.
How often or in what parts of the show do you watch?
Not often anymore. And
see, to be fair, like you said with me with Chappelle, he's got, so in the morning in the car ride to the gym, I like to watch some of the late night. And I don't ever watch the guests. It's an hour-long show. The first 10 minutes is stand-ups.
You just watch the monologue?
The monologue. It's basically news and it's jokes. So I'm like, hell yeah, news and jokes. Jimmy Fallon has the best news and jokes out of anyone. Colbert and Kimmel, they might get better. They're just way too visceral and vicious about politics. Jimmy Fallon hits on both sides and does like little kid jokes. And I know you like dad jokes. Give Jimmy Fallon another shot on his monologues. They're getting much better, and they're very funny.
He's just so phony, so fake. Like the interviews are awful. The interviews aside, even the like segments, just awful. Like watching the let's do the wheel of impressions with Jay Farrow, and they have to pretend like it's not all pre-written, and it's just brutal.
Give it another shot. Give it another shot because he's gotten a lot better, and it's fucking funny. I'm telling you. All right. So
I still think he'll be fired, but yeah.
All right. So introduce your new segment.
So I think one of my best skills as a person is my ability to find great obscure videos, quick bites, quick clips, whatever you want to call them. So I showed Sean a couple last week, and these were by no means bottom of the barrel. They were like pretty well-known clips, and he had never seen them. So that made me think, like, let's start with some classics that I'm hoping you've never seen. I'm thinking you probably haven't. Maybe you have, hopefully not. And just kind of get your snap judgment there.
Okay.
I'll say one thing before I start this one. Does the title Grape Lady, does that mean anything to you?
No.
A newscaster making wine?
Okay, I think so. I think I've seen this one.
Okay. We can skip that one.
She falls, right?
She falls and like breaks her. Yeah, I mean it's one of the all-time greats.
I have seen that, not in a long time.
I saw this one recently. Hold on. All right, this is a fire safety demo. All right, let me share my screen.
Okay. Fire safety demo.
Oh, host has disabled attendee screen sharing, so you have to let me share.
Got it.
All right, let me make sure I.
Worst fire safety demo ever.
Where's Zoom? I'm just making sure you can hear. All right.
All right, let's see it.
Ordu, Turkey. Hundreds watch a fire safety exhibition. The first demonstration doesn't go so well. The extinguisher seems to spread the flames better than it douses them. Luckily, nobody gets hurt. Not yet.
Look at this guy. All right, so he gets engulfed in flames. He's a firefighter. What's this? Whoosh.
There's too much fuel on the wood.
He's spreading the fire himself.
Firefighter strikes a match. He's engulfed. He tries to shake the flames off his arm.
What is the really difference?
He throws gas and fire on the spectators.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
That was intense.
No, got himself on fire, and then he threw fire at the spectator.
There's
Yes.
too much fuel on the wood.
Is that in
Oh my God.
or something like that?
It was Turkey.
Okay.
So that is, I mean, an all-time great. This is also fantastic.
All right.
It's a
Can you see the video?
evacuation to operate. Just
Can you guys hear the video too?
Yeah.
push the buttons in right here on the two sides. The two little buttons.
think you need
and all
this
you do
for
is
your-
push them in, and that will release it. And what
To build
right
that
here,
man cave you
push
have.
the button in, that releases it, and then after you let go, it locks firmly in place. So really, you're all set. And this is tough. It is. Listen, give you an example. Say you have you have to get up on the wall, high ceiling, vault the ceiling. Hey, listen, just walk right up. And I tell you, it's very safe, it's durable, and it's lightweight.
Scaring me.
So really, see,
Wow.
now it's locked in place. Okay. So really, you think,
Oh God, Harold, are you okay?
actually, I didn't have it locked. You have to lock it. Once you lock it, you're okay. But it is.
my favorite
And I
part.
tell you,
It's clearly not locked. It's clearly
He's trying to be
about to collapse. He's smooth. Now it's locked.
it's very safe, it's durable, and
Harold,
it's
you're
lightweight.
scaring me.
So really, see,
Wow.
now it's locked in place. Okay. So really, you think,
Oh God, Harold, are you okay?
actually, I didn't have it locked. You have to lock it. Once
You also have to.
He's laughing like crazy.
You respect how quickly he snaps right back into sales mode. Actually, you know what? That's on me. That's user error. This isn't locked.
Actually,
Just absolutely amazing.
oh, his face is like slammed into the thing. Oh man,
So there's a
dude, I bet you didn't sell many of those.
who knows? Well, I mean, there's a million of those QVC fails. But I know last week I showed you a couple of people falling and firework accidents. You seem to be into that, so I thought these would be two quick ones. Next week I might change it up a little bit, but hopefully you enjoyed.
All right, I love it. This is David's videos of the week. You got to think of your own jingle. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Brandon's big points. Question 1. What's one thing you wish your sex ed teacher taught you in school before you lost your virginity?
Start.
I got kind of an embarrassing one that I don't know if I should say.
You have
I-
to say it.
Like,
put it in the wrong hole the first time?
no, but along those lines, I never knew that girls could like complete
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this.
for like my whole first girlfriend.
Right.
So I wish I would have known that.
That's a weird thing for them to leave out. That seems
I
like it's
mean,
like chapter 2.
Yeah, like
Maybe
does it
just
have
weren't-
any does it have any reproductive value?
just the fact that it's an urge that they follow. So
Yeah,
so they have sex more, you know?
right. So yeah, that's a pretty big one. And
Sorry to miss girlfriend number 1.
Yeah, I look back on like some like moments, and I'm like, whew. I eventually learned though.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know if she knew either.
I'm sure she knew.
I mean, we were so young.
Maybe that's why she's an
we were
ex-girlfriend.
We were like 17. Yeah, so it's pretty embarrassing. I can't
It's a
believe
good
I
one.
said that.
It's a
but
big
yeah.
one.
I mean, it's something that I will like make sure anyone that I ever talk to about that's young. I'm not trying to be dirty. Like, it's actually a good piece of information.
Sure.
So yeah.
The more you know. That's a good one. I mean, the cop-out answer for me is like nothing, because that's like the fun, exciting part of like experimenting with that stuff. It's like you learn along the way. You learn things like that. I'll say for me, a big one was like the actual positioning of the lady parts. Like the first time I was like going, and I was like expecting it to come. It's like, here it comes any minute, any second. And just kept, my hands kept
it's
going
like real down
and
low.
You go far.
Yeah.
When you're just used to, your wiener.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
all
you
right,
thought
here's
it-
where it should be.
That's a good
The
one.
root of it starts here. No, you got another like 4 inches.
Yeah.
And even then you have like another 2. So
yeah. That's a good
but
one.
luckily you figure it out.
Yeah. I just like I could see you being one of those jokesters in class that's like like reading out loud and like touch the penis, and everyone starts laughing because you said penis.
No, I was always cracking jokes, but that's too easy. I didn't go for the cheap laughs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But did they split up boys and girls in your school?
For like the period talk, but not for everything else.
Yeah. Super awkward to learn
You
about.
think so? Maybe it's because my mom's Icelandic and like the like sex and all that stuff is so like laissez-faire and open, but I didn't find any of that awkward at all.
I did.
Oddly enough.
How was your like first experience buying condoms?
I knew a girl that worked at the grocery store.
My
So-
mom bought me condoms for the first time
Really?
when I was like
Damn,
14 or
dude.
15.
Iceland.
And my older and I wasn't having sex then, and my brothers stole them all. So, but yeah, I've never felt uncomfortable about that stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, this question's kind of morbid. What is one way you would like to die, and one way you wouldn't?
Easy answer for me. Like drowning would be the worst, I think. Or like I guess being buried alive, but that would take somebody else like kidnapping me and like murdering me. That would suck. Any kind of suffocation, but I'll say drowning because that would be super scary. I would either want to go like peacefully in my sleep in bed as a super, super, super old man, or like instantly, whether something where it's just like boom. And
All right. I got a better
it's
answer than
over.
you. The worst way to die is being cocky, like Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay had the worst death I've ever seen. He was being a cocky asshole, flying around his little boat, going like, "Whoa, look at me,
Plane.
look at me! I'm in this cool new thing." Boom, dead. How awkward is that? Doing something
He was under the
cocky.
influence.
I mean, sure, but like doing something cocky or like doing something you shouldn't be doing, but you're like kind of being a badass. That's so embarrassing to die that way. Like Roy Halladay, come on, he was a great man, great pitcher, a good person. I wish no ill will on his legendary name, But goddamn, that's embarrassing. He was being cocky, flying around a new contraption, and his wife told him, "I don't want you to have that thing. I don't want you to have that thing. Please, please, please." He was like an investor in it or whatever, but oh my God, doing something cocky, like trying to show off and then end up dying, that would be so embarrassing.
Bad.
I already said
Yeah.
I want my funeral to be a roast. That's one of my wishes if I die. But like that
Isn't
would
that
actually
called being cremated?
Hey. But like, imagine him like, look, 1 foot, and then I fall off. Like, oh man, that is just a hurtful. Like that is so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. So,
What about the best way? Being not cocky.
I don't want to die, ever. I don't ever want to die. I want to find that Tuck Everlasting ship.
The Fountain of Youth. I think it's somewhere in Florida.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look for it. But damn, I don't want to die, man. I don't know. How's a good way to die? What's a good way to die? I mean, I don't think there's any good way to die, but I don't know. Maybe getting knife raped by a stranger in my house.
That'd be peaceful.
I don't know, man. There's no good way to die. Obviously, less pain, or like something epic. Like I save an orphanage, and like I die. Something epic, like the reverse of something embarrassing. But still, okay. I always said that if there's ever a school shooting and I'm there, I will be the fucking hero of it. And I always used to think about in my classrooms, okay, there's a school shooting. Of course, it always depends on the angle in those situations. Always thought about that. Always thought I would do that. So a couple years ago, there was a shooting in North Carolina, somewhere in North Carolina. And this brave young man sacrificed. Do you even know the story? Like, it wasn't that popular. It was a few years ago. This brave young man charged the shooter, saved probably 8 to 12 lives, got killed.
Never heard of him.
I mean, he was on the news that night. His parents said he was always the type of guy to do things for others.
Mm-hmm.
No one knew his name. No one ever talked about him since then. Ever since then, I was like, I ain't fucking saving anyone for a shooting.
Yeah. There was another kid that I think it was in like the Pacific Northwest. There was a kid was about to shoot a college, and he shot a couple people with a shotgun. I don't think he killed any of them, but he was like reloading, and somebody came up from behind him, tackled him, disarmed him. Everyone lived, thankfully. The kid that shot him, I think he's facing like multiple life sentences or whatever. But I mean, that's a badass story, and he lived.
He lived. Okay, so if you live, I mean, still like. I'm still not knowing this guy is famous enough to like make that worth it. But if I'm halfway joking and all I care about is the glory of saving the people, which I'm halfway joking, I'm not seeing these people get enough fame for me to put that. It lowers my chances of me going for that charge. And I'm halfway joking.
The fight or flight thing kicks in.
I mean,
and like 99% of people in that situation, no matter what you say now in that situation, you're like, I'm getting.
Well, like I said with the alien invasion. I swear, I'm good in pressure. I always like can keep my head on my shoulders. So I think I would have the ability to make a rational decision. Of course, put me there and we'll see.
Right.
But I think I would have the ability to make a rational decision, and it all depends on timing. And at this point, I'm leaning towards fucking running, maybe throwing someone in front of me so I don't get shot.
When you mentioned the joke you thought I would pull in high school, like just shouting penis, wouldn't do that. But one thing that I always got a laugh in was. The second the fire alarm started for a fire drill, whatever it was, wherever I was in the school, full sprint out of the school, no matter what, sprinting by everyone. I always got to laugh. And that was like my escape plan. You don't know if these drills are drills or if maybe a fire popped up. And I'm not going to be that, student who's caught in health class waiting for the line to form. I'm out of there.
That's funny because like a bunch of classrooms can see it and like the whole school gets a laugh more than just the class.
I would always laugh to myself thinking of like a bird's eye view, and you see like one person sprinting out there to the tennis court, and then like 30 seconds later, the masses start walking out.
Like, how do you know it's a drill? Like,
you never know. But then I would always kick myself because I'd get to where I'm supposed to be, and like there's no payoff there. Nobody sees that, and then I have to wait for like 5 minutes for my friends to get there.
And
so
then
I'm just standing around. And people are like, why is this guy out of breath like 100 yards away? But it made me laugh. It was funny enough to me that it was It was worth it.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. Woo!
All right.
Did we wrap it up? Is this it? I keep talking, man. That's what I can see. How Joe Rogan go for 3 hours?
Yeah,
I could see
can
it.
see it.
Sometimes I can see it. Sometimes I've done. No big deal. I've done 72 episodes of the podcast.
Right.
So some's at the end. I feel like I go longer. Some at the end. I'm like, oh, geez, I could not have gone for more.
Right.
Right now, I feel like
I think there's still some meat on the bone, but that's what keeps them coming back.
Boom. Yeah. And
3 down.
yeah, 3 down, 10 to go.
30%
I like
of the
that. I
way.
like the video. I like the video segment. And yeah, man, it's been fun.
December, for next. We got Christmas theme coming up. I'm sure
Should
we have to start thinking about
should
that
we dress
around
up?
the holidays.
Should we dress up like elves?
It's up to you.
Anything?
I'm not dressing up like an elf, but I can dress up.
I like our topics, but maybe we can maybe add some more humor and stand up bits or something like that. Or not stand up, but comedic bits. I don't know. I fall off the chair or something like that.
That would be hilarious. You're always. We established this at your bachelor party. I think Sousa called it out, but you've always been a prop comic.
Yeah.
Always looking for that slapstick. I
It's
actually
just cheap
was going
laughs.
to maybe
Just
I'll save
cheap.
it for next episode, but I was going to play one of these videos from your bachelor party.
All right, save it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You guys were all laughing at me, and I just kept the slapstick humor coming.
He couldn't stop. He would have a hanger in his jacket. Yeah. Something like that.
You're
You
the
gotta
idiots
laugh
laughing.
a quarter of the time.
You're the idiots laughing. All right, Boo, this has been awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody. And tune in next week. Let us know your thoughts and keep coming back to this amazing podcast, The Sean Lowery Show, featuring Brandon Coley and my man, David Hecker. Peace out.
Adios.
Have you ever heard a better podcast in your entire life? Take that, Joe Rogan. Best podcast you've ever heard. Get more podcasts right here and subscribe to the show too while you're at it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you. Honestly, I love you.